Okay, this is law 3 from the laws of indices, and we're looking at the power of 0. Okay, the biggest mistake made by pupils when they're asked what something is the power of 0 is that they say the answer is 0. So if I asked you what 7 to the power of 0 was, the biggest mistake is pupils say 0, because they think, well, it's 0 sevens. And 0 times 7 is 7, yes, but 7 to the power of 0 doesn't mean that. And it's difficult to get your head around trying to think of actually what it is. When we have 7 to the power of 1, yes, we can see that is just 7, and when we have 7 squared, we can see that's 49 because it's 7 times 7, so 2 7s multiplied. So when you think of this as 0 7s multiplied together in the same way, then you naturally think it's 0, but it's not. And so 7 to the power 0 does not equal 0. That's the symbol for not equal, an equal sign with a slash through it. Okay, so how can we work out what it is? Well, the best way of doing it is to look for a pattern in powers of numbers that we do know. So let's look at powers of 2. Okay, so I'm going to do a little table type of thing on here. So let's look at 2 to the power 4. What is 2 to the power 4? Well, it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So 2 to the power 4 is 16. Let's look at the next power down. Let's look at 2 cubed. What's 2 cubed? 2 times 2 times 2. That's 8. Okay, and then let's look at the next one. 2 squared. 2 times 2 is 4. Hopefully you can see where I'm going with this. Let's look at the next one. 2 to the power 1. That's just 2. Well, what's happening as we go from one number to the next? This is a number pattern here, isn't it? What's happening from here to here? Okay, what is happening? Well, if you think about it, what we're doing is dividing by 2, and hopefully you could see that anyway without me saying, but that's what's happening, isn't it? Because I'm taking a 2 off every time from my multiplication. So instead of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, I then move to 2 times 2 times 2. So I've divided by 2 and got rid of one of those 2's. But you can see that here as well. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Well, we know what the next power is. If we're following our pattern, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So can you guess what 2 to the power 0 is if we're following this number pattern? Well, if we're going to follow the pattern, we're going to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 2 to the power 0 is 1. Well, is that the same for 7 to the power 0? Let's have a look. 7 cubed. 7 times 7 times 7. Well, 7 sevens are 49. 7 times 49, well, a quick way of doing that is 7 50s, 350. Take away 7, 343. Okay, whenever you multiply something that ends in a 9, it's easier to add 1 to it and then take those off after. Okay, let's look at 7 squared. 7 sevens, 49. We've divided by 7, haven't we? Because we've got 1 less 7 being multiplied together. 7 to the 1 is 7. Divided by 7. And if we carry on with that pattern, divide by 7. 7 to the 0 is 1. So 2 to the power 0 is 1. 7 to the power 0 is 1. Let's look at one more. Let's look at 3. Let's look at 3 to the power 4. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. Times 3 is 81. Let's look at the next power. 3 cubed. Well, we just said that. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. Yes, we're dividing by 3 again. So we're dividing by wherever the base is, aren't we? To get the next one. 3 squared 9. 3 to the 1, 3. And then we're dividing by 3, dividing by 3, dividing by 3, and 3 to the power 0 is 1. So again, 3 to the power 0 is 1. So 2 to the power 0 is 1, 3 to the power 0 is 1, 7 to the power 0 is 1. In fact, anything I put that in brackets, to the power 0 equals 1. Even letters. Let's have a look at some algebraic examples. Okay, just going to move this up. Put my pen back on. Let's look at x to the power 4. Then look at x cubed. Well, to go from that to that, we're dividing by x. Then if we divide by x again, right, so we're dividing by the base like we did up here. When we had the base of 2, we divided by 2 every time we went down 1 power. Base of 7, divide by 7. Base of 3, divide by 3. Base of x, divide by x, to get to the next power down, which is x squared. And if we divide that by x, we get x to the power 1. And if we divide that by x, we're going to get our x to the 0. But what's x divided by x? Well, that's equal to 1 as well, isn't it? So x to the power 0 is equal to 1. Because if you divide something by itself, if we divide x by itself, we know that equals 1. So x to the power 0 is also 1. Yeah? Because x divided by x is x to the power 0. And x divided by x is 1. So x to the power 0 equals 1. And like I said up here, anything to the power 0 is 1. No matter what you put inside those brackets, even if you did something like this, put it up again, even if you did something like this, let's put something, loads of letters, let's put a coefficient, let's put 5, x squared, y cubed, z to the power 5, and put all that to the power of 0. So all of that in there to the power 0 equals 1. Okay, we don't need to look at the pattern because we've seen it. Anything that, right, so x here can be anything. And we know that when we get to that anything to the power 0, it's going to equal 1. And we showed it, whoops, I zoomed in and out there instead of taking my pen out. We showed it up here with powers of 2, powers of 7, powers of 3. So, you know, we could go on and on and on. We could do powers of any number, and it's always going to end up with 1 when we get to the power of 0. Okay, the power of 0. So that's the rule to remember, and it's a really important rule because they do try and catch you out. Okay, so basically, just to recap, law 3, looking at the power of 0, 7 to the power of 0, or anything to the power of 0, does not equal 0. Okay, it doesn't. It doesn't mean 0 sevens. And to see what happens, I looked at the patterns when I looked at different powers of numbers. And we could see that when we got to 2 to the power 0, it equaled 1. When we got to 7 to the power 0, it equaled 1. When we got to 3 to the power 0, it equals 1. When we got to x to the power 0, it equals 1. Anything to the power 0 equals 1. And I'm going to just put a nice little red box around that, because that is the thing to remember. Whoops. Anything to the power 0 equals 1. Okay, not a great box there, but hope that helps. Okay, thanks very much.